Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. Star Citizen 4.4 is still under Evocati NDA, which is currently interpreted as talk but don't show. But recently, the Evocati builds have begun showing the splash screen for 4.4, which is very interesting as they lay out the two primary areas of conflict in Nix, or as the lore team is fond of calling them, the A and B storyline. And it turns out my predictions of how CIG would handle the lore contradictions of Nix 1 were about half right, which when you are talking about trying to anticipate what the lore team at CIG will come up with, half right is pretty close to a bullseye. But since it is on the left side and slightly larger of the three-column layout, it would appear that the primary conflict, or what you might term the A storyline, is not about it. In typical Levski style, it isn't a video screen, but a broadsheet pasted on a wall and hastily assembled, cut and paste like a ransom note, titled Vox Populi, the Voice of the People's Alliance. Again, since the rule is talk but don't show, I will just have to read it verbatim. Headline: Albertson family killed in Vanduul raid. Subhead: Governing committee offers condolences but no solutions as the death toll continues to rise. Body text: The Albertson family mining post had just started its shift when the Vanduul raiders struck without warning, killing the entire crew within moments. As the horrible trend of Vanduul attacks continue well into its second year, several members of the governing committee argued in the last month's session that the time has come to ask the UEE Navy for assistance in securing the system. While Executive Allard has commented that no options are off the table when it comes to ensuring Levski's future, senior committee member Thorian Bask has made it clear that any UEE intervention would be staunchly opposed, commenting, block quote, "If our ideals cannot stand firm in the face of mortal danger, then what are they worth?" Which sounds quite a bit like Thomas Paine's famous proclamation of, "I do not know what path others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." And we definitely heard a tease of this conflict during the CitizenCon Direct presentations.
Now that the UEE has kind of transformed itself into a democratic society, what is their role? What are the People's Alliance rebelling against? And they still see the empire as being inherently unfair. They see their role as still trying to create a free and fair society. But on the other hand, they have more problems than ever. And there's new threats lurking around every corner. And they have to ask, are they prepared to handle that? Or do they need to turn to the UEE for help?
The middle column of the broadsheet, I am guessing the B storyline, has to do with how CIG is addressing the lore contradictions of Nix 1 that I and others have been speculating about. What I got wrong was that Nix 1 is not a temporary location for a planet that is eventually being placed somewhere else. What I got right was that the state of the planet is the result of very recent and remarkably successful terraforming. Headline: Nix 1 terraforming shows progress. Subhead: Nascent oceans and atmosphere now present. Body text: Despite not bothering to seek permission from the People's Alliance to test their experimental technology in our system, the change that Genesis Terraforming has wrought upon the Nix 1's formerly harsh surface in just a short time frame is undeniable. Block quote: Can this be the dawn of a new home for our people? So the core of the B storyline is pretty clear. Who owns Nix 1? The People's Alliance clearly thinks that they do because it is Nix, and from the fact that they didn't even ask for permission, it is quite clear that Genesis Terraforming, or whoever is funding them, thinks that the People's Alliance starts and ends with Levski, and I'm guessing that they didn't notify the UEE either. There were a lot of mentions during CitizenCon Direct of a new faction.
Inhabitants of the station invite you to come on board.
Which INSEC sort of will encourage you to do because it'll help further their investigation against what's happening here, why these QV stations have come back online.
You dock your ship, you board the station, and it turns out the inhabitants here have a real surprise for you.
The player will be immediately ambushed. These guys are not your friends.
Of course, it's not going to be easy because the people that are inhabiting the station are going to fight you every step of the way.
The fight will be challenging, but this definitely will be the warm-up phase of this mission. This will be the players getting a sense of what exactly is going on there, who these new people are. They'll be in unfamiliar armor. They'll be wielding unfamiliar weapons. And we want you to get a sense that you are in a new place, in a new territory, fighting a new faction.
So after you survive this initial ambush, you get back in touch with Intersec, and obviously the question is, who are these people? Why are they attacking? Why are the Vanduul attacking them?
At this point, there's more going on here than anyone thought.
And I'm guessing that new faction is Jennifer's Terraforming, or whoever is backing them, because altering an entire planet must be ridiculously expensive, and doing anything twice as fast as normal is always more costly. And the factor that may link these A and B storylines together is that if the People's Alliance does request help from the UEE, or if the UEE just decides on its own to intervene because, well, it's Vanduul's killing humans, their logical first step would be creating a temporary forward operating base orbiting above Nix-1. And as you may well know, such temporary bases tend to be anything but. A development likely to make neither the People's Alliance nor Genesis Terraforming very happy. And that is pretty much clearly the announcement of the main storylines that will dominate events in Nix going forward. And I see many juicy possibilities. The third column of the broadsheet is a nod to the fact that 4.4 correlates with the International Aerospace Expo event in the annual cycle of CIG's marketing, and is a good look into the mindset of Levski, and possible fodder if you were thinking of role-playing a People's Alliance member. Headline, IAE Pomp and Opulence Reeks of Empire in Decline. Subhead, Corporatocracy Eager to Pacify the Masses with Annual Aerospace Event. Body text, while the masses may be satisfied to gather and gawk at the latest offerings from the various military-industrial complex stooges like Aegis Dynamics and Anvil Aerospace, this year's grotesque pageantry of parading war machines to a population left bereft of the security promised to them by their failing government demonstrates concretely that the UEE's days are numbered. Well, that may be what the IAE means to them, but for me it is where the channel will be giving away the Starlancer Max in the Grow the Channel ship giveaway, and buying the ships for next year's Invictus Week giveaway, as well as next year's IAE Week giveaway, as well as maybe a few other surprises involving Nix. One entry per video for all my ship giveaways. Members are entered automatically. For example, longtime member Gret Abbott winning the Post CitizenCon Direct giveaway. Still looking to hear from you, by the way. Everyone else subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is the name of the broadsheet on the 4.4 splash screen. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond with Ray's God.